Welcome in to Keeping Up with Vestavia Athletics. I'm your host, Caleb Brooks, joined by head football coach here at Vestavia High School, Coach Robert Evans. And Coach, first off, just want to start this show by congratulating you getting win number 1 here at Vestavia this past week, and it was a big one with the win over Homewood. But just want to congratulate you on that, and had to be a really, really special night on Friday to get win number 1 as a head coach.
Well, it was, and then as soon as it's over, you think, well, we play Thompson next. So we enjoyed it for a night, but then it was kind of on to the, Saturday morning, Saturday morning we were on to Thompson's. But yeah, obviously we had a great crowd, and our crowds through 2 weeks have probably been the 2 biggest crowds in the state, and so our community is excited about the product we're putting out, and we get to test ourselves this week against the best, and looking forward to that challenge.
Tell me a little bit about this Homewood game. I mean, what went right for you guys? Obviously, when you dominate a team like that, there's a lot of things that you have to do well on your side, and it takes them doing some things not as well on their side as well. What was kind of the mix that allowed you guys to dominate?
Well, this game will humble you in a hurry. So, I've been on plenty of the other side of those type games, but when we started, we got won the toss and elected to receive, and went right down the field and kind of set the tempo for the game. And then, we got some turnovers defensively. We got off the field on third down a little bit better, and outside some sloppy penalties, I thought we played about as clean a first half as we could.
In doing that, how much of it was the week before not doing some of the things you guys wanted to, and this group just being really focused on going out and executing some of the things you can
people say that, but you play different teams every week. Mountain Brook's a really good team. Homewood's not nearly as good as Mountain Brook, and it's no knock at those guys, but, you call a spade a spade. Thompson's probably the best team in our state this year, regardless of the outcome of the first 2 games. So, it's different each week. But I thought our guys had a good week of preparation, and I thought they played kind of the standard we want to play, which is an up-tempo brand of football, and we're able to get up and down the field, hit a bunch of shot plays, and John Paul threw the ball well. When you hit shot plays in our offense, we're going to put up a bunch of points.
That was one of the things you said last week. You said, I felt like we should have scored a couple more points against Mountain Brook, and we should have done a couple more things. And being able to put up 35 points, being able to execute on offense, hit some of the big plays, how important was that, building that confidence on that side of the ball going into this game?
You're going to have to hit shot plays to score against Thompson, because you're not going to 10, 12, 14 play them down the field. Just not going to happen. You might get one of those drives through the course of the game, but you're going to have to hit chunk plays. They're too good up front to just get 5-7 yards at a time. That's not going to happen. So in order for us to be in this game, they're going to have to help us like they have their first 2 opponents, and then we're going to have to hit some shot plays and get into the mid-20s, low 30s to have a chance to win.
When you look at Thompson, they obviously played on Saturday, late game, 8 o'clock at night kickoff, obviously getting to be on TV and all of that, but does that semi-work into y'all's advantage?
No, I don't think so. I was at Slice with my wife. That's our date place on Saturday nights, and I was so looking forward to watching the game, and somehow it was delayed, and they had Howard and Alabama A&M or Alabama State on. I was disappointed, but got home and watched the second half, and they really dominated that game. From the start of the game to the middle of the third quarter, and then their quarterback's helmet gets knocked off. The transfer quarterback from Chelsea came in and throws a pick six, his first pass, and then they go right back down the field in the fourth quarter and fumble on the 1-inch line. They returned it 100 yards for a touchdown. So, you look at the stat sheet and you just look at the physicality. The team from Nashville, Trent Dilfer, they didn't even try to run the ball. I think they ran the ball a handful, 3 or 4 times. And they're a good team, but they put up 150 or 70 yards of offense. And so we have a tremendous challenge on them. But our stated goal is to play these guys twice this year. Those guys will be there in the end somewhere in the playoffs, and we would love to run into them again in November, because we know that they'll be there. The question is, will we? And I think we have a good chance. But we see where we are as a program, see where we stand, because we're playing the best this state has to offer.
Obviously, Peter Woods is a big name for this Thompson team. What does he do so well up front that causes all the other teams?
I think first off, he's a very versatile player, and I've seen him now for 4 years. And their coaches were raving about him when he was a freshman. He was starting there, and they had him and Alexander there for 3 years. And but he's scheme diverse. He's all over the place. He's a defensive end. He's a nose guard. He's a 3 technique. He stands up at times. A lot of times he has his hand in the ground. But he's a twitchy athlete for a 280, 290-pound kid. And that translates wherever he goes. And I think he's committed to Clemson, and he'll play right away. And I don't see how there's people have him ranked nationally. I don't see how there's 15 or 20 kids ranked ahead of him in the nation, because there just aren't 15 or 20 better football players. There just aren't. I don't care what state it is. So he's the best player one of the best players I've seen in this state, and probably the best defensive lineman I've seen, and all the accolades are well deserved.
On top of that, then you have Tony Mitchell back there in the secondary that when you do want to put the ball in the air, you've got him to worry about.
It's not just those guys. I mean, they have, obviously 3 of their 4 kids are Power 5 guys in the secondary. They have good high school linebackers, and then you look across their front, and their starting 3 guys are close to, almost close to 1,000 pounds. So, I mean, they got other guys that are bigger than Peter Woods up front that start, and so, obviously, like I said, you're not going to sustain long-winded drives against those guys. No one is. So you got to get chunk plays, you got to get explosive plays, you got to turn them over, and then hope that they kind of have an off night like they've had the first 2 weeks.
Is this a night when you're playing a team like this, obviously really good on defense and all that? Is this a night where you have to kind of open up the playbook a lot more than you do against other teams?
There's 2 schools of thought. One is, hey, let's shorten the game and let's try to get to the fourth quarter. And our school of thought is, at least my school of thought initially is, hey, we got to play our game. Our game is a fast-paced, up-tempo type deal, and maybe you hit some plays and you tire them out, and see what happens. But stylistically, I think they want to get up and down the field, and we want to get up and down the field too. And we'll see, see what happens. But our kids are excited, and it's a challenge, and we respect the opponent completely. But at the same time, life's about challenges and building a program. Where do we stack up right now against the elite in Alabama? And regardless of what's happened the first 2 weeks, they are the team to beat in this state.
I asked you last week how important getting a win was. You said it was important for your sanity, but also just for these kids and the confidence.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Can you see a difference in this team?
I don't know if I can see a difference. I think that it was good for us to validate the work. And so through a half, and really we scored 42, and they overruled a touchdown at the end that was a touchdown that they called a fumble. But to come in at halftime and say, hey, that's why we do the things we do. And I really do believe if you took the 10 best football teams in the state of Alabama, we're one of the 10 best football teams in the state of Alabama. So, I'm sorry, I got totally distracted there, but I do think we are one of the 10 best football teams, regardless of classification. But, Auburn and Ole Miss are probably top 20 teams every year in college football. And they're in the middle of the pack in the SEC West, and they got to do something every year to stand out, to get themselves to a New Year's Day bowl and figure out a way to compete with the A&Ms and the LSU and the Alabamas. But we're not where we're going to be in a few years, but I do believe that in one of these next few games that we'll be there in the second half with a team that nobody gives us a chance against.
What are your biggest keys for this game? What was this team going to
Well, we can't turn it over. You turn the ball over against these guys, and we had a good team last year at Mountain Brook, and they beat us 51-0. But the last 2 years have been at Mountain Brook. We've turned the ball over for a pick 6 on the first drive, and it's the most deflating, because you're like, all right, now we got to steal possession somewhere else, and they're already good enough. So we got to play a clean game, and then we have to turn them over to have any kind of chance. And you look at the team from Nashville; they beat that team out of Nashville 8 or 9 times out of 10, and they threw an interception for a touchdown, and then they had a fumble for 99 yards, and that was the difference of the game. Like, you have to get those kind of breaks, and you have to make those kind of breaks against those guys. So they got to be a little bit off. We got to be on our game. We got to play clean, not perfect, but clean, and we got to correct all the penalty stuff that we had last week, just nonsensical stuff where we had a bunch of touchdowns called back, and we got to play a clean game and hope to be there in the fourth quarter and play well at the end.
Coach, really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me again this week. Good luck on Friday night here against Thompson, and look forward to being back here next week, recapping this game with Thompson and looking ahead to the next one.
No doubt. Thanks, Caleb.
Yes, sir.
Ulch Mulch is a proud sponsor of Vestavia High School Athletics and the Keeping Up with Vestavia Athletics show. If you're in need of lawn maintenance, natural stone masonry, concrete, or any other landscaping or hardscaping needs, look to Ulch Mulch, located right here in Vestavia. That's Ulch Mulch. Just call 205-704-0880 for your estimate today, or visit our website at www.ulchmulch.com.
Welcome back in here, keeping up with Vestavia Athletics. I'm your host, Caleb Brooks, now joined by head volleyball coach here at Vestavia, Coach Ashlee Hardee. And Coach, another good week for your group this past week. You're now sitting at 13-4 on the season and playing really, really good volleyball here early. And how impressive has this group been to you so far, watching them and seeing them really come out of the gates really strong and put themselves on the map here in 7A?
You know, it's been really fun watching them play. Heck, I tell them that a lot, even in the huddle sometimes. We've been able to win games defensively, blocking and digging, and our blocking has gotten a lot better than it was last year. We've been able to win games offensively when we need it to finish off a game and generate some kills, and score some points, even with our serve as well. We've been able to do both of those right now, which is great. We need to put all that together. I mean, it's still August, as of right now, as we kind of, work our way through the season. But it's been nice to know that, we can win games in different ways.
You guys hosted your own tournament this past weekend, and you finished in the top 4 in that tournament, had a ton of teams here. And how big was that for you guys? I mean, we talked about when you host tournaments, you obviously want to defend your home court, win it and all that. Even though you didn't win the tournament, you guys had a great showing in the tournament, had a good placing in it. How big was that for your group?
It was great. We got to play a bunch of games at home too. So, we had kind of the round robin, the pool games early on. We came out first in our pool. We met a good Jasper team and were able to beat them. And then we played Arab. The semifinals is us and Arab. Chelsea was on the other side. And Arab got us in 3, but we won the first set. We were winning 23-19 in the second set, and then unfortunately made a couple of errors. And they're a good team. They're very good, and really had an opportunity to close it out. We didn't. We ended up losing in 3. But again, that's just really good competition that we got to play, through our pool to play in we had the quarterfinals. We had the top 8 teams of the tournament going to the gold bracket. And so, like I said, like you said, actually, we got a lot of really good volleyball here on our home court, for our fans, for people that maybe even haven't been into our gym yet, and to see some of the new things we've done in the gym. A lot of people said they really like the layout of what's been done here just for the whole athletic department. So it was a really good day.
We talked last week, when you host a tournament, the point is to make money for your program and all that. How'd you feel about the amount of people that showed up and what you guys were able to pull in at the gate, concessions, that type of stuff? Like, did you look at it and say, this was a successful tournament, this is what we wanted this to be?
Yeah, it was definitely a great day for our program. We had 16, including us, we had 16 teams in the tournament. We had a lot of people in the door. We had, a lot of people moving around. I thought the flow of the of the movement of people was really good. We utilized 3 different gyms on our in our school system. We had 3 courts at the main campus, another off-site, but we were able to have concessions. We were able to have good volleyball being played. People enjoyed it. They enjoyed being there, and I think people are going to want to come back. So it was a really good day.
Now flipping it over to this week, you guys are going to be heading up to Northridge today. So when people see this, the result of that will already be out. Mm-hmm. Kind of lay out the rest of this week and what you guys have coming up.
Oh gosh, it's we scheduled a lot early. We have 2 good teams tonight. We play Northridge, which is a really, really good program, always has been. And we play Trinity Presbyterian also. They were 3A state champions last year. I think they moved to 4A this year. And so we got 2 good games over in Tuscaloosa tonight. So we're looking forward to that competition. We have a home match against Helena on Thursday before we get the weekend off. We're going to take the holiday weekend off. We've played for 2 consecutive weekends now, so it'll be a good time to rest our legs as we come into next week, not looking too far ahead, but the following week, Thursday, is our first area game against Thompson. So I really like the way the schedule is working itself out and get some of these good competitive games going before we head into area play.
Talk about not playing this weekend, going to be a 3-day weekend from school and all that. Is this a good kind of time in the middle of the year for your girls to just get a little bit of a break, step away from volleyball for a couple of days and just kind of refresh themselves?
Yes, I'm one of those coaches that think that you can play too much volleyball. So, it's a physically demanding sport. We jump and land a lot on a hard surface. We have the overhand throwing motion when we hit it, when we spike it, when we serve it, and we're very aggressive at that. You take a baseball pitcher that throws 100 pitches, and he sits out the next 3 days. And a lot of times in volleyball, we come back and play the next day. So we have to build in, the right amount of rest time. This weekend, like I said a minute ago, we played 2 consecutive weekends. This weekend will be off. We'll play the next 2 consecutive weekends, and then we won't really play another weekend until we get into the state tournament. So we'll just have some regular weekday games, as we kind of navigate the schedule and try to keep our players, healthy and ready for a good run in October.
with area coming up next week, what are you going to really be looking for this week? What are the improvements that you feel like have to be made going into the biggest games of the season next
Just
week?
some consistency. We've been in different courts and different gyms, and we've made some attacking errors at times. I think we've been maybe pressing, maybe trying a little too hard. We had a good Mountain Brook match here where we had 30 kills and 30 errors, and we can't do that. And give Mountain Brook credit, they blocked 8 balls in the game, but that means we hit 22 balls out of bounds, and we can't do that against a good opponent. We're more than capable. We're plenty physical enough to do it. We just have to, trust our abilities. Not try and do too much in one swing. I tell the girls a lot against a good team, it's going to take three swings within a rally maybe to win it, because it's not going to be just one swing and the rally is over. So we have to have some composure in that as well. And if we get some of that more consistency going, I think we'll put ourselves in good situations, because we know we've been able to close out games.
Coach, really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me here on Keeping Up with Vestavia Athletics. Congrats on a great week this past week, and good luck this week. Going to be some really good volleyball played, as we talked about, and really looking forward to seeing how things go this week for you.
We are too, and we'll catch up next week.
Sir.
Ulch Mulch is a proud sponsor of Vestavia High School Athletics and the Keepin' Up with Vestavia Athletics show. If you're in need of lawn maintenance, natural stone masonry, concrete, or any other landscaping or hardscaping needs, look to Ulch Mulch, located right here in Vestavia. That's Ulch Mulch. Just call 205-704-0880 for your estimate today, or visit our website at www.ulchmulch.com.
Welcome back in here to Keeping Up with Vestavia Athletics. I'm Caleb Brooks, now joined by Kate Kaiser, senior member of the volleyball team here. And Kate, for y'all, been a really, really good start to the season so far. You're playing really good volleyball. You're sitting at 13-4, and not only do you have a great record at 13-4, but you're doing it against some really, really good competition. How fun has the start to this season been for y'all, and just to be able to be with all your girls out there, getting to play this game that you all love?
It's been so great starting off the season like this, and starting off with the Bodie tournament after our first few days of games. That was so much fun, because just the energy that the team brought is one of the best starts to a season that I've ever been on. And it's also so fun because out of the 5 seniors, I've been playing volleyball with them, with most of them since 4th grade. And so it's just so much fun to get to this point of of our senior year. And so it's just been such a great start.
Has this start, how well y'all have played, has it surprised you a little bit, or was it something that you expected? Did you expect to be playing this well this early?
I really did. Our team chemistry has been so great, all throughout the summer, and also just talking to all the girls, they all want it so bad and they want to win. And so going into it, I knew that we were going to have a really strong start.
You guys hosted your own tournament this past weekend. How much fun was that to be a part of, to have all this good volleyball going on right here at Vestavia?
Oh, that was great. I love going to other places for tournaments, but getting to host it in our home gym and playing on our home court, that was great. And then just getting to see these teams that, we got to play Fairhope on a Friday night, and seeing these teams that aren't super close in our Birmingham area, getting to play them was also great.
When you look at the tournament, how did you feel about the way that the team played, and do you feel like that you're continuing to see this team get better as the year goes on?
I really do think that you can see progress just from the tournament, because one of our biggest wins was we beat Jasper in the quarterfinals of the tournament, and they were actually a team that we played over the summer, and we ended up losing to them over the summer. So coming back and beating them in 2 was such a big deal for us.
In your mind, what is the strength of this volleyball team? What's going to carry y'all to being able to get to where y'all want to get to at the end of the year?
Like I mentioned, just our team chemistry is so well, and everyone really meshes super well, and so you don't have a lot of drama, because with girls there can always be drama, but everyone gets along great and just loves playing. And when we have high energy, it just kind of keeps building throughout the match, and people just have fun playing too.
How have you felt about the way that your senior group has really led this team so far this year and handled being the leaders of this group?
It's something that we talked about even before we were seniors, of how we wanted to be role models and leaders, but we also wanted to be someone who can go and talk to the underclassmen and they wouldn't be scared of us, because I know when I was a freshman seeing the seniors, I was they're so old, and that was scary. And we were just kind of determined, especially since we have a freshman on the team, that we didn't want them to see us like that. And so we've just really tried to make relationships with the younger players, and that's been really great.
When you look at this week now coming up for you guys, where do you feel like this team's going to really need to focus the most on, and where do you want to see the most improvement now this week?
I think in this week, one of the biggest things that we work on is just kind of keeping our energy consistent and keeping it going, because sometimes if we get down a few points, then it's can be harder to pull it back up, but that's something that we've been working on all season. So I think this week we can focus on that, and it'll be great.
All right, so we're going to do the get to know you session here. And so first off, just tell me what your favorite food is and how often are you eating that food?
My favorite food is probably a Caesar salad with grilled chicken, and I actually had that last night for dinner. But that's one of my favorite foods, or any Italian food is my absolute favorite.
Yeah, you can eat that Caesar salad anytime during the year and be good with that. So what are you listening to normally, and then, is that what you're kind of listening to get pumped up for a game and get focused on a game?
When it comes to getting ready for a game, that can kind of vary. A lot of the girls on the team, they put together a playlist, and that's not the normal music that I listen to, so I just kind of let them do whatever. But especially growing up, my dad was the one who would pick all of our, pump up music, and Eye of the Tiger was one of the really big ones that he loved to play, because my dad was a college athlete, and so he was always very focused on needing good motivational music.
What's your favorite subject here in school?
My favorite subject's English. That's kind of always been my favorite. Reading and writing have been two of my favorite things since I was really young, so I absolutely love English.
What do you plan on doing when you leave Vestavia? Do you plan on doing something that involves being in English?
I've thought about it. Right now I'm looking at going to Auburn and majoring in psychology to then eventually do mental health counseling, because I love having, I've always known that I want to do something like with a one-on-one relationship with people, and just, all of that is so fascinating to me, so that's what I'm looking at right now.
What's your favorite sport outside of volleyball that you enjoy watching or playing?
Basketball. That was actually the first sport that I started playing. I started playing basketball when I was around 4 or 5 years old, because that's what my dad and his 2 brothers and my granddad, they all played basketball in college. So basically me and my brothers and all my cousins, we didn't have a choice to start playing basketball. But it's something that I played for 10 or 11 years before I decided to just focus on volleyball, but I still absolutely love watching it. My family goes to all the home Sanford games, and so I love watching basketball.
Where do you feel like growing up playing basketball has helped you now on the volleyball court?
It's something that growing up playing basketball, my dad was really able to be my first coach, and because of that, he taught me how to have really strong work ethic and just to give it all that I have, and that's something that I transferred into volleyball. And because even though my dad knew nothing about volleyball when I started playing, he could always tell me to play as hard as I can and give it everything I got. So,
what would kind of be your message to everybody out there on what makes being a part of this Vestavia volleyball team special, and why people should come out and support you guys this year?
I think one thing that's really special is just seeing how volleyball is one of those sports that not everyone thinks oh, I'm going to go to a volleyball game, but every single person that I've talked to, they'll come to one game and then the next day they're like, that was so much fun. And so I think that's one of the really cool parts about playing volleyball at Vestavia, is that Vestavia already has such a great student section, and just seeing more and more kids come and seeing how excited they get about it just makes it so much fun. And I know I love playing for a big crowd, and so I think that's just one of the really great things, is seeing how much people do really like watching it, and then just seeing how much the girls love playing it too.
Awesome. Well, listen, really appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Keeping Up with Vestavia, and good luck to you all the rest of this year.
Thank you.